The other week I was called to jury duty. Adventures in civic responsibility. What can you do? I wore a tie, as the ghost of my late father compelled me to do so. I typically don't wear one, not really a part of my line, but the memory of the old man compelled me. Seeing his face and my own wrinkles in the mirror led me to make the dutiful choice. It's what he would have done. I sat in the plastic chair at the courthouse, waiting to be evaluated for the limits of intelligence and potential for gullibility by the attorneys in their slick Armani suits. It's sad. Such is our justice system. Beside me sat a pensive woman, a little older than me, reading scripture diligently. With little else to do, I looked over her shoulder to see what she was reading. The following passage met my eye. Very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. The passage gave me a start. It always does. To happen into this reading now, in this setting by random chance, seemed only to add to its punch. It was all pretty deep. I remember this one from back in the day at Sunday school. Jesus is talking to Peter, giving him a solemn heads up for the end the disciple would ultimately meet at the hands of the Romans. Heavy stuff. I'm no Peter, and I do my best despite my clumsiness to follow Christ's example. Jury duty certainly isn't martyrdom, though the tedium can begin to feel that way if you don't have a good book to read. But that's just the thing about the good book. Holy ancient scripture. Part of what keeps us coming back to these words after we've heard and read them again and again is that they hit us differently every time. Those words are like multifaceted diamonds. No matter how you turn them and look at their meanings, they always have a new flash of profound light and a refreshing new insight to offer. I sit on this hard, injection-molded seat with nothing but tedious time on my hands in a life that passes entirely too quickly, and consider the words I've glimpsed over the shoulder of my nervous, introverted benchmate. It's about Peter's ultimate end, but it also occurs to me that Christ is speaking to all of us. Hopefully most of us aren't on a road to martyrdom, but all of us who draw breath are aging. The message speaks to the contrast of being young and then being old. When I was a young person, I fretted over what I wore, how I did my hair, what shoes to put on, and agonized over where to drive, when my battered, rusted project car was a new, sparkling showroom beauty, like I was. Now I sit here, in a location of chalky obligation, in an uncomfortable polyester tie and shirt, wearing dour, sensible shoes, exhaustedly sitting with all my aches and pains, wrinkles, and accumulating gray hairs. The great rabbi is describing the inevitable course for us all. If we live long enough to be old, we will all be compelled to martyr many of the preferences of our younger selves and wear the suits of clothes our roles call us to put on. We will be called to take our obligatory seat in the hard, unyielding front pew, that all too visible spot where the rest of the congregation looks to us for leadership and example, as an elder, whether we've got it or not. We do the right thing and pay the price, like sitting here in fulfillment of jury duty. If we have the dubious privilege to grow old enough, we find we unwittingly become the pillars of the human societies we inhabit, ultimately creaking, groaning, and slowly splintering under the weight. To quote the old children's game, "Ready or not, here I come." We really don't have a choice. As I sit here, with nothing but time on my hands, I reflect on this passage and realize that the older we get, the more we become the subjects of others in response to our growing roles and the weight of these responsibilities. Eventually these roles will wear us out, and we will ultimately become like children again, in need of care, minding, and guidance. I think of sitting with my parents in their late days, waiting with them in too many chilling medical exam and hospital rooms. They wore the gowns they were given and were led where they didn't choose to go, in service of procedures that were necessary, but certainly not desired. Eventually, they were mercifully led home from those rooms and stark hallways to the infinite beyond. The great teacher was right. The time will come for us all. I sit here on this uncomfortable bench, in these uncomfortable clothes, in an uncomfortable role, and see that I am, in a very small way, sacrificing my will for the service of a larger good. My number has been called.